What does it mean to have him around today with what he went through earlier this year and all that he's been doing since then?
We kind of thought that we would love to meet him and recognize him. I think that things were so sensitive when it just happened, and we were kind of in our OTA session. And as I had a chance to reflect on it over the summer and got in contact with him, and just wanted to invite him out to camp and have an opportunity to come and visit with our team so our team could meet him and he could meet our players. And you get to talk to him and you just really see how calm and controlled he was in the situation. And I think our players will enjoy hearing him speak tonight.
Team meeting then is when he'll
Sure.
speak to him?
Oftentimes when a guy has a day off, he's out with his position group, taking what everybody talks about as mental reps, and a lot of people make a big deal out of those. Your guys, when they haven't been out there, you've kept inside. What's the alternate to that, and what's that tell us
When
about
I stand for 2 hours, Paul, my back starts to hurt. And so if a guy's getting a day off, I'd rather have him really have a day off and really treat it as rest and do everything that we can in here to make his body the best and most comfortable and recovered that we can possibly make it. So Todd Torricelli, our trainers, come up with a program for those guys when they're not out there, that they're in here and they've got 2.5 hours worth of recovery and stuff that they're doing, and I think it's going pretty good.
Live scrimmage today. I mean, what did you want to see going in, and what did you see? Well,
I think it was an opportunity to bring together the first couple days of the installation that had been scripted. Hey, on 1st and 10, everybody's over there, they're walking through the script. Hey, this is receiver, you're in this split. This is where you're going to be. Everybody's got you're in the 3rd play, you're in the 5th play. And so hopefully now we can understand that this is how you play the game, that the situation changes. A guy goes down, a guy gets a bump and a bruise, somebody's got to go in there, and somebody's down on the punt team, and the next guy goes in. And the coaches have to understand the operation of, when the ball's, after the ball gets tackled, like we've got 40 seconds left to get a play call in and get it out in the huddle and understand if it's 3rd down and 5 or whatever the situation is. So that's what we have to start coaching. We got to get the plays. I get that, but now we got to start coaching situation, playing football, understand how the game's played and what the flow of the game looks like.
In a situation like that, are the quarterbacks basically running the play that's called in the huddle, or they have the freedom to change in and out of it if they need to?
Well, I think that Matt gives them the flexibility within the call to get themselves in the best play. Now, it's not an open menu at that point in time. Now, there's going to be times where Marcus is going to have the opportunity to make those calls, but I think for the most part, he's given an either-or situation.
Operationally, at times it's been a little confusing the first couple of days. When you went live today, did you like how they responded operationally to that?
Yeah, I think it was better. We didn't have snaps that were on the ground and things like that. We probably dropped some passes, which we're going to drop passes in the game. We're going to miss tackles in the game. We're going to have to overcome fumbles in the game. And so it's about letting the players get lined up, give them an opportunity to execute the play with fundamentals, understand the details of the play, make sure that if there's bad plays that we have to overcome, like we have to be able to say, okay, we made a mistake, and now we can sit here and harp on it, and we can sit there and let it linger, or we can move on to the next situation, because now that situation's changed and now we're into something else, and we'll have to either fix it on the sidelines or make sure that we get it corrected as soon as we possibly can. So I think those are the things we're going to have to look at, coming out of this scrimmage.
In the 2-minute drill, I know it's only training camp, but you like the fact that Marcus is willing to take a chance on that 4th down play, throws that deep pass into a tight window, and Taiwan comes down with it.
So yeah, we put we didn't connect on 2nd and 3rd down, and you get down there and it's 4th down, and that's basically GTHI. That's got to have it. And Taiwan, came up with that play and that catch, and that's good to see. That was really good to see for him to make that play at that point in time. And really, once you get there, now it's in the kicker's hand, and now you can do some other things to get a 5 yards, but he's basically guaranteed us an opportunity to attempt that field goal, with Ryan. So there's a lot of good things that we'll have to get covered tonight in these situations, we can't do these enough because within those situations, it may change. You know, that now we had a 4th down and 2. You know, in other drives we may get down there, and now we may need, hey, to take a shot in the end zone because we're outside of field goal ranges. There's only, 3 or 4 seconds left. So the more you play them, sometimes the more situations you get covered just by doing it and letting them play out, and you get all the situations covered just by kind of the execution of the play over the course of a few weeks.
How much has Taylor improved just over the time that you've started to know him up until now?
He's got a great attitude. He loves football. We're starting to see him separate from guys, and he's starting to, catch the ball. And excited about the ability to get him in open field and let him run with the football. And you saw he had a really nice rep in open field tackling drill. That's what we have to do. He's got a skill set, and we have to, it's my job to make sure that, we're doing things to get him the ball to be able to make those moves against players in space.
You also had veterans here with the Walk of America. Can you talk about spending time with them and why it's important to have them at practice?
Yeah, that group reached out and said that they were coming through Nashville. Anytime that we can help our men and women in the armed forces or those people that are trying to help some of those veterans, we're going to be all behind. We're going to be for. We're going to let them come on our field. We're going to talk to them, take pictures with them, thank them for doing what they're doing. They're walking 15, 20 miles a day. Least we could do is practice for 2 hours.
Corey responded well to that day off, and do you think you might take, more measures like that going forward just to, get that effect?
I think I couldn't tell you how he responded to the day off. I know that, he looked fresh and ready to go. And if we see fit that he deserves and has earned another day off, and we feel like that's best for the team, then, we'll give him another day off.
It's starting to get.
Scheme, you have to install a new culture here. How do you go about, as a new head coach, how do you go about doing that?
We've tried to talk about what our culture is, and what it really comes down to is how our football team looks when things are bad, when you're at your worst. That's really what your culture is. Your culture isn't, when you're 9-1, pretty sure you're going to have good culture, and everybody's going to be coming to work and saying, hey, let's go, let's work hard, and everybody's going to be on time. And it's when there's a couple losses in a row, or something happens, something bad happens, then you kind of define, what your culture is. You define how competitive you are and how tough you are, if you're conditioned and if you're disciplined enough to do it every single day, regardless of how good or bad things are. So we're working on it. We're continuing to do it. We're continuing to remind them. But we have a bunch of great guys here. We haven't had any issues with anything. There's been no pushback. Guys are very receptive. I just ask that they come out on the field and jog from drill to drill, jog onto the field, and act like professional football players.
With Rashawn having a second day of rest, like you alluded to, I don't know if you caught John Harbaugh's quote last week about rookies coming into the NFL not necessarily calloused enough, their bodies not being quite prepared for practice. Is that something that you've observed with the rookies that you have?
I think that some of these guys are doing okay. They've been out there and they're hanging in there, and they're trying to fight and they're trying to compete and they're just trying to do stuff to earn the respect of the veterans. I think that's the first thing that rookies should try to do. They should try to make sure that Brian Repko and Jarrell Casey and Jonathan Cyprian and Logan Ryan, Derek Morgan, that these guys know who they are and that they respect them because they play hard and they know the plays. Because they're, I told them, I said, if they don't know what to do, tell Dean not to put them in there. That's the veterans on our defense. That's their prerogative to tell a coach, hey, he doesn't know what to do and he doesn't play very hard. So we would not, we don't want him to be a part of our defense. And we haven't had that, but that's the message that we try to send, is that they have to earn the respect of the veteran players every day at practice.
With that, Rack has been out, and that has had a lot more for Harold Landry to play. How has he done? How has he progressed?
He's done about like the rest of them. There's good, some bad. And I think he keeps working and trying to improve. But it's been about like the rest of them. It hasn't been, all great, and it hasn't been all bad. But it's a long process for these guys. You have to remember, Harold hasn't really played football, for a while. He didn't finish the season with Boston College because of the injury. So, just being their second or third day in pads since early November or October, whenever it was that he didn't finish the season. So, we're still chipping away at it.
You saw your offense kept having to settle for punts and for field goals. What are some little things that maybe need to be corrected heading into the next time you do this exercise so that doesn't happen?
Well, I think just getting in our own way. I think that we come out and there's a great drive and it's 6 or 7 plays right down the field, down in the red zone, and then we make a mistake and then we have a turnover. And then, whether it be a penalty or little things that cost us the drives, that really just kill the drives. And so those are going to be the things we harp on, is just making sure that we don't get in our own way, that we're not doing things that cost us drives and points. And really, we just got to find a way not to mess it up and not to ruin the flow of what we got going on. Because there really are some good plays going on and happening. It's just that there has to be an ability to sustain that throughout the course of the drive.
What do you want guys to do tomorrow?
Rest, see their families, study a little bit, take watch some film. But the guys that need to get treatment, get treatment. The ones that need to recover, take care of their bodies, and come back focused and ready to go on, on Wednesday.
What's tomorrow look like for you?
I'd probably like the same day, but without practice.
Sort of yesterday is a guy who maybe showing you something. Were you?
No, guess who goes? I'll tie it in.
All right. Like the way he stepped up a little bit today without a couple tight ends.
Yeah, so we got an opportunity, and that'll be like one of the guys that we'll evaluate. We'll say, the coaches will get together and we'll say, where are our guys at? Where do we think this tight end group is? Where's Anthony fit into this group? And we evaluate the guys after the first 4 days. So that's another thing that the coaches will do, is they'll evaluate their positions, kind of who we feel like has had 4 good days and moved up, and who deserves some extra reps, and who really maybe has kind of fallen behind, because that's the game you start to play. You start to evaluate your team, and you start to try to build, the 53 guys that you feel can give you a best chance to head into the season and be successful. So with that, we'll have, some meetings to try to evaluate, where the offensive and defensive and special teams units are.
Good.
Thank you.